Welcome back to Tyranny. We are still at the Spire. Last time we just talked to Ebb for an hour, and we still have other people to talk to. We have Lantry to talk to, but we kind of did, and then we need to talk to Barrick and Verse. As you can see, these are talk to me, and then we have to understand what the hell's going on here, which is also a good, interesting thing. So did we actually talk to Lantry?
One moment, my friend. Just let me finish this thought.
Ending his note with a flourish, Lantry licks the tip of the quill, pausing to taste it a second and third time before tucking the pen in a holster on his sleeve. Okay, so we already have stuff to talk about. Let us discuss current matters.
Of course. How can I help?
Know anything about the region we're in? By the way, I'm really thinking that we might be in for another conversation with everyone, but hopefully we'll get through it pretty quickly so we could do everything as well as talking to the Spire, but I don't know, maybe it'll just be another conversation-filled episode. Know anything about the region we're in?
The Spires predate us all. As far as I know, we're the only ones who've been up here since... ever? I think this might be a first. Perhaps the real Trailblazer had trouble getting down and was lost to history. Of course. How can I help?
Know anything about the region we're in?
The Spires predate... Of course. How can I help?
That still shows that I could click it and get more information, which is interesting, but okay. What are your thoughts on traveling associates?
Are you asking for an objective assessment? Or is this your way of saying you want to gossip?
I want to gossip, Barrick.
He is a proper Northman, with duty in his blood. Which makes me suspect his loyalty to Ash is stronger than his loyalty to you. As long as your interests remain aligned to Graven Ash, this shouldn't be an issue. I must admit, I am completely fascinated by his predicament. Ever tried diagramming the articulations of his armor? Don't. It'll only lead to madness and ruination.
Ooh. Verse.
I know little of swordplay, and couldn't work a curve and arrow to save my life. I can't really comment on the lady.
Lady? You're just afraid to talk in front of me, clear as day. Your sweat is easier to read than your ink scribbles.
Damn.
No, not at all. I just don't know how to comment on a warrior's worth, that's all.
Spare me your blather.
Pauses to read Lantry's body language.
Huh. Think that, do you? Didn't know you had such swollen hope for me.
Verse?
Just calling it as I see it? And I see he's holding back. Nothing serious, just a bit insulting.
Damn, no need to keep secrets, Lantry.
A most fascinating specimen. I think she has great potential. A dangerous amount of potential, to be blunt. The Scarlet Furies are the fighting elite of the Scarlet Chorus, and that means floating to the top of a sea of blood and chum. We should consider ourselves lucky to have her on our side, with her weapons usually pointed away from us.
Ebb.
Good typecasters stay underwater. Kairos did the Tears a favor by erasing those moon howlers from history. A shame one of them escaped justice.
I like that I make you this agitated. Considering all the things that don't seem to bother you in the slightest. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of getting off on how much power you're giving me here.
Duh. And then there's your coquettish act whenever someone calls you on your teeth. I'll be the one ready to tangle when, not if, you decide to pounce.
Damn! Okay. So what's on your mind? Questions?
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of knowledge. What did you want to discuss?
More about you. Me? Well, I'm fine, but I'm not a very fascinating subject. I study interesting people enough to know I'm not one of them. Enough to know I'm not one of them. Yeah. Is this like really just new conversations with everyone? Like everything? So this will actually take like 3 hours? What's your story? Tell me the origins of Lantry. Someday, someone half your age will ask you to sum up your life and you realize what an odious request that is. Well, where should I start? I grew up in Sunder. Is this really gonna just like, we're just gonna talk to them forever now? I grew up in Sunder. I was born right after independence from the realm of Stalwart, so yeah, do the math and you realize I'm old. In a treaty that ended with a firm stipulation that Sunder chose to leave and that Stalwart did not lose the Civil War, the free city of Sunder marks 347 TR as its year of independence. He's pretty spry for 84? He's 84? What? Okay. That's really old. Like, extremely old and to be fighting and stuff, but okay. Remain silent. As an novice, I was assigned to the dovecotes, where I learned how to raise and groom birds to carry missives, and most of my early tomes are on that subject. 10 years and several tomes later, someone decided I was ready to be welcomed into the inner circle and shown the ways of magic. And since then, I've spent a great deal of time in field study, which I suppose readied me for life after the fall of this Vellum Citadel. Well, as much as anything could ready one for the strangest of these days. Were you born Lantry, or did you take your name, that name on joining the School of Ink and Quill? Most sages take a new name when they join the school, but for me, the transition was difficult at first. I stuck to my old commoner name and then just never got around to picking something high-floating name like Sage, Sage Apophis, or Sage Dangling Particle. Is this your true skin? Did you always want to be a sage? I cannot imagine doing anything different. I suppose in my youngest days I yearned for battle and glory like most boys I knew. Having now seen how short a soldier's life can be, I look back on that old calling, that old mindset, and laugh. So really, what's the story? What do you mean? Ooh, subterfuge. Or conquest. We both know you were part of the core spies in the Citadel. What's your story? Or, I know you're smarter than you act. Extend me the same courtesy. I'm going with subterfuge. Lanty strokes his beard, leaving flecks of sepia among his white whiskers. I was on the take from the voices of Narat, or at least an agent of his sent me to the School of Ink and Quill 30 years back. It'd be years later until I made the connection to the Archon. Most people think the war began 3 years ago, but the voices of Narat has had his hands in things sooner than that. I was part of that early mission, an eager kid happy to accept the 30-year assignment that comes with an education. What else aren't you telling me? You read the Edict of Fire. You were the messenger of Kairos' judgment on my work. It was about then that I decided I'd need to take an interest in your skin? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that word. In truth, I am deeply curious about any who lived as vessels to Kairos' most supreme magic. When I heard you were proclaiming a second edict, I had to find a way for us to meet. Being tied up in a prisoner camp was not the intended plan. So I can gain major loyalty or fear. Thank you for telling me. Now, no more secrets, understand? That's major loyalty or major fear. We are at... Yeah, we're tier 4... we're tier 3, so we're past that. We kind of want to do the fear one so that we'll also get fear from him. So let's go with, I am dreadfully unamused by this. Let's go with the major fear, I guess, so that we'll get the other one. Boom. And now we're almost tier 2. Bowing his head in shame, Lantry falls silent. Damn. So you advocating surrender to Kairos was the end of your long plan? Yes and no. When I first left, I was just happy to be getting educated by the sages in someone else's rings, and my orders were simply to listen and report. As the time drew near, my commands were to win them over, a little at a time, to the notion of surrender. But I failed. The elders of the school grew defiant, and the militant minds won out. These are tiersmen, after all. I didn't deliver the surrender, and it took the Overlord's edict to end what I was sent to do. Did Narat have you captured for failing to convince the sages to surrender? The Archon of Secrets didn't even remember me. I guess I looked at some thug the wrong way and got dumped. My imprisonment isn't anything more interesting than that. Let's speak of something else. You mentioned raising birds. Do you think you can go back to doing that? At some point, yes. Good birds are needed to keep the missives moving through the tiers. I set all my best birds to flight before the edict. Turn of phrase, constant caw, and the rest, they're out there somewhere. Maybe even when this is over, I'll summon them back and start a new dovecote. How do you feel about Kairos? Lantry Loyalty 1. How can I not help but find him to be the most captivating person alive? The man has bent empires, claimed continents. Where he goes, history follows. I won't deny he has killed millions, at least, but I contend more would have died in petty wars across Terratus in the void of Kairos. I've seen what tiny despots, merchant cabals, and mage guilds can inflict in the name of all sorts of righteous causes. I will take the role of Kairos over the tyranny of every idiot on Terratus. Let's speak of something else.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of knowledge. What did you want to discuss?
I'd like to discuss arcane matters.
And
Give me more lore.
To oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel, it is hard to find someone with whom I can discuss such things.
What do you know of Kairos' edicts? Kairos has cast many over the ages, and to my knowledge has never worded two edicts exactly the same. Edicts defy our understanding of magic. Kairos' magic works over vast distances, over infinite durations, and no Archon or mere mage can counter the force of an edict. What can you tell me of edicts in general? I think some of these conversations we did have, but it all seems like it's already, like, we can click it again, so it's kind of weird to me. I explain it to my students like this. A spell is to an edict as a drop of rain is to a hurricane. Edicts and spells are both magical cantrips, but differ in intensity by orders of magnitude. Edicts are almost commands to Terratus that must be carried out until the instructions allow for the magic to end. If Kairos wants a plague until next Judge's Day, expect copious boobus until next Judge's Day. Nothing has ever dispelled an edict. Nothing outside of the edict's own sunset clause, as I'd like to think of them. I'm curious about a specific one. Of course. Goddamn, there's a lot of them. Any thoughts of the Edict of Execution cast on the Vendrian Valley? It seems like the Archons were about to kill each other, and the threat of mutual destruction was all about Kairos had left. I imagine fear is the only way to get something like the Voices of Narat to follow orders, and the Edict certainly did whip them into action. Of course. What do you know of the Edict of Stone? The Edict of Stone ravages the realms of Azure. The upheaval of earth and rock turned the rolling plains into a craggy steppe known as the Stone Sea. Since the Edict was directed at the traitorous Archon of Stone, it would seem the upheaval of Azure was a secondary consequence, though I imagine little of what Kairos does is unintentional. Of fire, I know that you warned us. I'm alive today because of you, as are so many of my brothers and sisters, and I'm most certain you were not ordered to warn us, so all the more reason to honor your decision. Then she bows deeply, his face blushing when he returns to standing. Given the destruction involved, the warning seemed to be a humane thing to do, or average fear, or major loyalty. I'll go with major loyalty this time, just because we could do that, I think. A most noble sentiment. The edict, I guess I should have gone with fear, too late. The edict has its intended effect. I am very flip-floppy. It crushes the will of the school and scattered the sages to the wind. I'm glad I brought an end to the conflict, and thanks to your warning, without further loss of life. Continue with the Edict of Storms. The Edict of Storms turned the once forested lands of Stalwart into a wind-swept wasteland. They call it the Blade Grave now, since only the iron and bronze ornaments remain. Hurricane breezes, rust winds, and relentless lights have destroyed the housing and farmlands of... oops, I clicked 4 instead of 5. Many over the ages, blah, blah, blah. Do edicts work on the same arcane principles as spellcraft and other magic?
Edicts are the strongest manifestation of magic we know, and they seem to violate all other lesser phenomena. No dispel cantrip has ever dented or abated an edict. Even archons with powers of great durability cannot shrug off their effects. Just look at Cairn. Now, what I find curious, edicts can flex a little. Or so my studies suggest this is the case. Take the Edict of Storms. While the day it was proclaimed was the most violent, the actual radius of the storm has changed over time. But most will have none of my hypotheses on this matter.
Yeah. What's your conjecture about them?
So, in my studies, some edicts resolve some problem of the overlords and then vanish into history. But the edicts that linger around, almost all of them begin to widen. Their effects become more intense. Here's the intriguing part. The older the edict, and the more that's written about it, the more the reports of that edict get more dire over time.
That's how legends work. Each generation tells them bigger.
True, I could just be overreacting to sloppy record-keeping, but my hunch is that there's some correlation going on here. I contend that edicts are powered by fear. Fear of Kairos helps fuel the casting, and fear of the edict feeds the magic, sustaining it, and if enough people fear it, even growing it a bit.
Rule by fear is certainly Kairos' way.
Intellectual honesty demands that I study the matter more. If I'm correct, the more people fear and obsess over an edict, the stronger it becomes. Anyway, another study for another time.
Interesting.
And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum
what do you know about the magic of the
Archons?
Archons? I've studied many of the Archons for many years compared to the other sages. I'm an expert on the subject, which is sad because I feel like I've still so much to learn. How does the magic of the Archons work? We'll have magical powers that are intuitive. When the Voices of Narat pulls out someone's mind or Graven Ash protects his soldiers, that magic isn't a signed spell or ritual. To them, it's closer to flexing one's hands. Archons are the, what's the word for it? Axiom of magic? The root of magic? Spell pioneers? While every guild or school of magic will ascribe different a name to the theory, all mages inevitably stumble upon an inescapable fact. Only the Archons can will magic into being. Everyone else can only cast magic by invoking the sigil of an Archon that has come before. None know how the Archons do their magic. It seems to be different with each Archon, but theory suggests that once an Archon starts to invoke their powers, anyone else who comes with that Archon And after the Archon could, with the proper knowledge, tap into the power with the proper sigil and know-how, which is what we're doing as mages. This observed law has given rise to a common question with young student. Could one guess at a sigil of an Archon not yet born, or not remembered by history, or simply unknown to the caster, and successfully cast a spell? Experienced mystic would tell you this is impossible, for they know that it's not enough just to mimic the gestures of a sigil. One must have willful, conscious knowledge of the Archon and the intended power being channeled. Interesting. I think we read that already, but we read it again now. I'm sure this analogy is off in many ways, but I see Archons as the mothers of original magic and everyone else is just imitating them. To confuse things a bit, some Archons learn to cast other spells in the same fashion as us lesser mages. If you're as important as an Archon, you learn quick that all knowledge is power. Which is why lore is the most important thing to me. Yeah, sort of. Not really, but yeah. I've studied many. Are all Archons loyal to Kairos? Officially, yes. In actuality, no. Those with the true gift of magic always come to the attention of Kairos. A few managed to evade attention for a bit. The School of Tides was founded by one such uncontrollable that these are history's exceptions. Occulted Jade, Archon of Tides, never bowed to Kairos, and it's said she survived the assassin sent to silence her. It makes her flight from Kairos before the war all the more troubling. We knew her as the symbol of strength that when threatened her weaker nature won. When we write biographies of the Archons, we often refer to them as exarchs in their formative years before stepping into their prime. But officially, Kairos is supposed to grant all titles of Archon. It's quite the fox paw to self-appellate. Exactly why Jade insisted on calling herself Archon of Tides. She didn't need Kairos' approval to wear the title she deserves. And I know she loved the fact that doing so must have annoyed Kairos. I've studied many of the Archons for many years. Okay, how is the Archon born or bred? I think we all dream of one day waking up and being an Archon, giving some of the madmen and loons that have exhibited mystical greatness. It can seem unfair that the rest of us can't do it. I can say with confidence, Archons aren't born, they become. Gravenash is a good study of this. Before he was Archon of War, he was a successful commander, each victory more daring and glorious than the next. Somewhere along the line, his leadership took on mystical qualities. The Gravenash we know today can reach out and protect his soldiers from harm, but maybe at first he could just protect those near him. I wouldn't know for certain, but all will attest that he didn't have this power his whole life. That's interesting.
And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of
what do you know
the Vellum
spellcraft?
Citadel.
I've forgotten more than most
I've
blood chanters have
forgotten
ever learned.
more than most blood chanters have ever learned. What do you want to know?
Can you teach me?
I think you know all I can teach you.
Lame! What sort of magic did the sages teach you? Sage Sindon tutored me in the traditional sigils, those of preservation, concealment, and healing, as derived from the bygone archons of Tharavis, Fading Wrath, and the Orphan Midwife. The preservation magic is largely functional, sealing parchment, binding books, that sort of thing. All of us chronicles learn concealment magic, as our ideal method would be to study events without contaminating them, the decisions being made. As for healing magic, many of us modern sages study with this a great deal. The school has a shoddy reputation among the common folk. I figured if they knew us as healers and caregivers, maybe we start to change opinions. They didn't teach you how to conjure lightning or something fun? Sounds boring. Average fear. Oh, just free average fear? I'm down. And he is... Oh, loyalty is at... Oh my god, 92% to tier 5 with loyalty. And with fear, we're already at 2. Yes, well, I suppose boring attracts fewer enemies than dangerous. The way I see it, we've already invited enough ways to kill each other without magic. Why bother? Invented. What can you tell me about signing magic? Scholars don't have a good word for that, for what Archons do when they cast magic. Couldn't tell you how Gravenash casts his protection over his soldiers, nor would I know how Bled and Mark consciously decides to move through a shadow. Bled and Mark is the knife in the shadows guy, yeah. But when us mere mages want to cast a spell, we do so by signing the sigil of an Archon that previously discovered the magical phenomenon in question. It's debated whether Archons create new magic or just discover magic that was waiting for us, but such questions seem impossible to answer while sober. And that's all we have with him for now? Oh, I need to click him because he's over here.
One moment.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that is all we have for now. Cool, so we're done with Lantry. It only took 19 minutes. We already talked to Ebb, like everything, right? Nods.
What is it you need?
Okay. So, let's start with verse.
So, the Scarlet Chorus and Disfavored are at each other's throats. Can't say I didn't see that coming, but the Archons might have waited until one war was over before they started another.
Do you think I made the right decision?
Fighting with the Disfavored. Oh, not the call I would have made, but I'm sure you have your reasons. If you like iron weapons or something about that purple uniform excites you, then be my guest.
Purple is sexy.
Who can say? War is all about compromising your morals, deciding who lives and dies. What seems like a mistake turns into your greatest call down the road. Let me make one thing clear, just so that there aren't any misunderstandings. You support Graven Ash, and I couldn't care less. I'm here because you've done what none of the Archons could. Not even the voices of Nerat would fault me that. He's also a complete bastard, and I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to stab him in the gut and take control of his army. So, there's that.
Sounds cool.
I'll say this much. Our time together is anything but dull. My blades are yours for as long as you'll have me.
Aww.
What do you need?
Noted. To Barrick and Verse, have either of you noticed that you fight particularly well together? Ooh! 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 Okay, 8.
The thought has crossed my mind from time to time. During the many battles of the Conquest, we found ourselves standing back to back with enemies on all sides on more than one occasion.
The big guy here is as useless as an empty scabbard without his phalanx to keep him alive, but I move fast enough to compensate for it. And it's nice having a living wall of rusted iron I can use for cover.
I want you two to train together. Ooh!
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Our fighting styles are incompatible, and any disfavored lieutenant will tell you not to join at the hip soldiers who can't stomach each other.
I'm inclined to agree. If you want to pair up fighters, there has to be some great passion or magnetism between them. We don't have
You
it.
guys love each other so much, oh my god. Subterfuge. I'm totally going with subterfuge.
Now see here, Verse's temperament and unpredictable ways are an annoyance, but no challenge is beyond my skill. Verse, we should take some time to face off in the sparring fields. It might even improve our disposition towards one another.
I'd rather watch you devour your armor one shaved off spoonful at a time. But since that isn't going to happen anytime soon, I suppose I'll make an effort.
I'm so happy right now. This is adorable. This is the most adorable thing ever. Aerostorm unlocked. Barrick and Verse have gained a new combo ability. That's so cute. That's adorable. I'm sorry. That's absolutely adorable. Aerostorm. Verse fires several arrows into Barrick's armor. When the last arrow strikes, Barrick roars and the arrows burst out. That is so cute. Oh my god. That's the best. 50 bonus damage per enemy engaged for 3 seconds. Barrick, it just deals damage everything. Ah, it's adorable. That's the best thing.
At
I'm
your
super
service, Fatebinder. What do you need?
I would like to discuss your apparent connection with Barrick.
You've just got to know, don't you? I suppose there's no point in hiding it. Barrick and I are siblings. We share a father, if little else.
The fuck? Where the hell is this coming from? Since what? How? What? What? What?
I try not to think too much about some northern merchant dropping anchor in my mother's port, but it happened. And the fortunate result stands proudly before you.
How do you know, though? How did you become aware of this?
There were a lot of lazy days during the conquest, and among other things, I spent my off hours using messenger birds as target practice. You should have seen Ash's anger when he heard that was going on. One day, I snagged a bird that flew from the hands of a proud northern daddy. The missive was about the goings-on at the family farm. I recognized the name and handwriting from a note in my mother's belongings. There weren't too many people named Barrick in the army, so tracking him down was no challenge. I cornered him in camp, and we shared a few heated words. Some blackmail, even.
She tried to extort rings from me, and I was having none of it. Not even Graven Ash would think less of me for our father's indiscretion.
I like your confidence, but my ring belt is feeling a little light these days. Maybe you want to take me up on that offer, or I can start whispering in disfavored ears. Think about it.
You even like each other?
I've tried to get along with that ironclad knot of repression, but it would seem he's having none of it. Good riddance, then. The war's tossed us together, but nothing says we have to keep that going. The most we do for each other is try not to get the other one killed, which is more than you can say for most disfavored and Scarlet Corps.
How does this affect you, Barrick?
Well, Verse has a nasty habit of jabbering in my ear and making this war intolerable. I plan on parting ways and returning to the north at first convenience. My father will answer for his infidelity.
Damn.
Beyond that, I am happy to consider myself in every way unaffected. My superiors once accused me of having an impulsive streak, but I have worked to suppress it at every turn.
When you go back home, send Father my fondest greetings and thanks. If he hadn't gone to ground on my mother's dry dock, I might not be here today.
Damn.
My heritage was a point of pride and distinction before I met you, Verse. Not that you would care.
Have you noticed any impact?
I've asked myself about that several times, but unfortunately I don't have what you'd call a definitive answer. The Northerners put a lot of meaning behind family and blood. Seems arbitrary to me, but I don't want to discredit it entirely. I told you about what happened to my Scarlet Fury sisters. The hesitation I experienced. Sometimes I wonder if that wasn't because of my connection to Barrick. He's stubborn, regimented, everything I'm not. I suppose there's no telling for sure, but if I had to guess... Yeah. Sometimes I get messed up in my head, and learning I had a brother has helped me understand that better.
Okay.
What do you need?
That's it. I kind of like...
The thought has crossed...
The big guy here is as useless as an empty scabbard without his phalanx to keep him alive, but I move fast enough to compensate for it. And it's nice having a living wall of rusted iron I can use for cover.
I clicked it just to see if there's anything else that we can click, and now there's new ones. So I clicked something that was, this thing is done, there's no further stuff in there. Like, you already clicked this thing, but there's new stuff now. So I wonder if I should go through everything because there's new stuff everywhere, but I wouldn't know. You think it's because of your shared heritage?
If you want to attach some arcane meaning to the whole thing, be my guest. I couldn't tell you for sure. I doubt that a capable tactician could explain why certain soldiers learn to rely on each other.
In the disfavored ranks, the Oathbound seem to know more about synchronizing their efforts, and the same could be argued for the Scarlet Furies. I don't know how they pair up their units, but it isn't by virtue of blood.
How do you think this is possible?
I would suggest that our fighting styles complement each other, but they do not. I would suggest that we get along, but we do not. We don't even finish each other's
Sentences? Okay, that was strange. Did you hear that? The next time I catch a whiff of Barrick's meaning, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Totally set her up. Okay. That was amusing.
At
though.
your service. What do you need?
So yeah, now there's
The
nothing.
thought has crossed...
The big guy
Yeah,
here
now there's nothing. Okay, good. Barrick, lastly, we're okay.
And so, civil war divides the armies of mighty Kairos. The reckoning that comes of this failure will be great indeed. We find ourselves in the darkest times. Brothers and sisters who fought for a similar cause now skewer each other over blighted lands in the favor of distant powers.
What would you have done, Adventure, as well?
Backing the disfavored was the only logical choice. Graven Ash is the only Archon worthy of your confidence, and you were wise to recognize as much. Naturally, I would have done the same. Whatever others might say about what happened in Vendrian's Well, you acted from instinct. I can't help but respect that. What can I do for you?
So I can also do it from here?
The thought has crossed my...
The big guy here is
Yeah, it's the same. Okay, cool. So we talked to everyone. That didn't take too long. We now have Ebb, because we can, and we already set her up with stuff, I think, properly, so it's kind of okay. I could actually take things from Barrick, from
one moment, my...
from this guy.
I'll tack homeward. See you there.
So I could... Oh, he doesn't actually have anything useful. Except for what... I'm immune to paralyzed, liberating helm wraps. We could take these away from him. Gimme. And this is a light... This is a fine helm. Other than that, he has nothing really interesting. A shield and and his own quill. And lesser healing potions, which I can steal as well. I think I'll leave him here for now. And we will take Ebb, so...
What is it? Of course.
Let's add her to the party.
I will return to our hold fast.
I'm dragging instead of clicking, which is whatever. And then you could do this, hide helmet. We want to see your fancy hair, and you do have fancy hair. And we could do this because this is crap, basically. That one has unbound. It's kind of the same thing. Whatever. This can be sold. Oh, because it's quest items. Can't put it in all. Put this over here, whatever, doesn't matter. Or we could put this on you, actually. That makes more sense than these guys having those. Is that a super healing potion? Or a real healing potion? Or a big healing potion? Whatever. And is this better? Light leather vest. Less recovery. I'd rather her... She can stay with her own stuff. Zig Zig. She has Zig Zig. Zig Zig. Only Eb can equip that. And everything else is not really necessary. So other than that, we're good. Journal. Quests. Yeah, we already, like, interact with the Spire device. Yeah, I know that's what I need to do next. It's okay, dude. She's the only one that doesn't have Spire rest bonus. Unfortunate, but, well, whatever. Guess we could rest because nothing is stopping us from resting, but okay. Click. On closer inspection, a series of symbols carved around the base of the structure come into view. One symbol pulses with a blue-white glow. The pattern resembles the glowing lines of light given on the floor of Ascension Hall moments before you find yourself teleported above the clouds. As you stare at the symbol, the chill of the wind abates and your chest swells with warmth. The air finally feels welcoming, your lungs sated at last. You stake your claim on the tower and everything in it. Whether that sculpture is, it belongs to you. I can feel power running through this place. Eb surveys the surrounding, her gaze sweeping to the object at the center. You can sense the magic of the Spire even from down below, but up here, this close to the axis of the Spire, the deluge of energy is numbing. I feel dizzy. Do you feel dizzy? Merrick massages his brows of his helmet, causing a howl of grinding iron to echo across the space. What is this thing? The surface of the stone edifice trembles at your words. For a brief moment, the solid rock undulates, the same motion as a quiet pond rippled by rain. An echo bounces back from afar, your voice distorted and unfamiliar. Is this thing? Your voice, for a moment there, it sounded like song. The sculpture is once again still. There is a rush warmth through your body, a jolt of innervation that steadies your balance. A barrage of tactile sensation floods your mind as you feel footsteps and wind, but not on your face or your limbs. A moment later, the flood of information begins to make sense. You are feeling the wind against the Spire, and even the weight of your own feet, as if the Spire were a second spine. With this connection made, you feel your awareness pull from this place, not as a traveler, but as one glimpsing the world from impossibly far away. In this moment, there is nothing you cannot see, though you see it nearly all at once in a flood of sensation that is difficult to parse. You see a spire at the crossing of an ancient stone structure, two walls extending off into the distance. At the base of this eternal spire, settlers and merchants act in every way unconcerned, toiling under the observation of unforgiving taskmasters. As the shadows of the spire falls over them, the mood changes. The settlers pause in shared unease and look up at the sky, towards you. Some of the faces looking at you are familiar, and you recognize this place as Lithenian's Crossing, where you served during the war. Near this settlement built at the joining of the ancient walls, you see a breach in the massive masonry, a cleft into the forbidden hidden realm within the old walls. Drift into the old walls, or drift close to the spire? I'm going with the old walls. Shadows envelop you, muting all sound and vision with slight delay. There is a feeling... Sorry, slight delay threw me off because of Baldur's Gate. There is a feeling of preservation, of wrongness. Whatever arcane power is allowing your senses to drift free of your body seems to falter in this place. Figures haunt the stone halls, drifting emanations of cloud, claw, and fang. They pay you no heed, but you fear them all the same. In the depths of this forbidden place, the deepest chamber is bathed in light. An arcane symbol illuminates the floor, though the details hurt your eyes when you focus. With a gentle tug, your focus pulls back to a new horizon, though it takes you a moment to recognize it as Ventrian's well. You return to the awareness of your immediate surroundings. The effect leaves you unsteady on your feet. Drift closer to the spire. The spire feels similar to the one you now occupy, though instead of radiating arcane life, it reeks of dust and crumbling stone, a branch withering once pulled from its tree. It reaches for you with a barely perceptible tug. The link between you and the spire recedes. The arcane bond is still present, but the mystical energies, for the moment, are quiet. Your body flooded with excitement and fatigue. It's unclear whether the mystic connection is strengthening you or siphoning. The tower offers nothing by way of answer, and you know that asking would only yield more silence and mystery. The deluge of sensation is over, but the positions of the other spires still lingers in your mind. From your vantage point atop the mountain spire, you can easily spot the mysterious structures, each of them rising high above their distant surroundings. All right. Strange. Ebb curls her fingers and draws a quick sigil in the air, then studies how it fades. The magic of this place responds to you. The portal, the braziers, it all grows more vibrant when you approach. Before we get ahead of ourselves, it's worth remembering that you ended Kyrus' edict. That's no small feat. Maybe your connection to this place is related? Either way, sounds like something for the arcane-minded to investigate. Be sure to see me after your audience with Tunon. We cannot let Scarlet Chorus gain hold of the tears. Together we will wipe them from the land. Come to me as soon as you can. By Iron Marshal Arianas. Steering visions. Interact with the Spire. Investigate the Spires. Find a way to Lithuanian cross Spire. Okie dokie then. So we can go back down, or we can click this. Discover doesn't respond to your touch. And now, the voice of Kyrus. Travel to Tunon's court in the Bastard City. So we can click the Spire, and then we know that there are 5 spires in the game, because it tells us. This is Mountain Spire, and we could recruit people? Huh. The ancient device, perched atop the mountain spire in Venturin's Well, is the product of a forgotten age. It is unclear what function it once held, or if it can be used again. Resting in any spire grants a bonus to all skills. Yay! Maintenance cost? None. Does not cost anything. We have 400 power, which means nothing. We have 1 scroll and 1 hide, which also doesn't really mean much to me. But, okay. And then we've got recruits. Revus, a merchant with a motley collection of items for sale. Revus will also create camping supplies periodically, so we can hire him and then he comes into the Spire. Satius, a skilled trainer who teaches unarmed attacks, parry, dodge, and subterfuge. Those are cute, but I'd rather have lore. Skilled trainer, one-handed weapons, parry and athletics, one-handed weapons, two-handed dodge and athletics. Or a battlefield scanner with many unique items for sale. I'm not going to buy anything right now, probably. Skill trainer, which teaches one-handed, two-handed, dual-wield, parry, and dodge. Basically, I need, like, parry and dodge is good. This also does dual-wielding, but it costs less than one-hand, two-hand dodge and athletics. But Tanara seems like best one-handed weapons. I don't know how long they stay, though. And I can have a maximum of 6. Fatebinder. A Fatebinder with the ability to change what skills you're proficient in, and it costs 1... super gold? Iron ring. It's not gold, it's bronze, I'm sorry. An old beast woman who regularly provides food to take into battle. Meh, really no need for that. A smith who regularly produces weapons. You just get them then? Yeah, I have no idea which one I should buy. Fatebinder sounds good. To change what skills you're proficient in, that sounds pretty good. Parry and dodge. I think I can take this one, the 750. Because she has one-handed and two-handed, which is good, and parry and dodge and dual wield, so it's pretty good. Let's do this. Recruit hired. Tanara will appear next time you travel with a mysterious device. Cool. So she's just going to be at the top, basically, and we can dismiss her for no money. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Edicts. Oh, there's multiple. To view information about its current edict. Edict of Storms. So here there's an Edict of Storms with the Royal Stalwart. And this is the Edict of Stone, which is already still happening, and the other places don't have anything. And we do know a lot about them at this point, which is cool. The Voice of Kairos and Steering Visions. We want to go there and travel to Tunon's court in the Bastard City and have a chat.
Let's be off.
Let's be off. Okie dokie then. Let's make a quick save and go down and see what happens. So this is the Mountain Spire Venture as well. And we can go to the Citadel or the Ascension Hall, which let's go to Ascension Hall first. Instantly check for mountain sort of event. Yes, I am sure, because what else am I to do? And let's explore our new Spire fort place. Shiny. Very shiny. Elements of the old plates and the goblets and molded bits of bread and dingy water. A decent meal has been had in the room for a long time. The intricacy of this architecture suggests a master of craftsmanship that is far beyond what you would expect from a normal tiersman. And the stone throne is caked with a solid layer of dust. No one has sat upon it in quite some time. Okay, let's see what happens when we get out. Walking around. We already explored all of this, but I guess we have to explore it again because now it doesn't have enemies in there and every path is open, even though before it wasn't open. But now it is.
Moving cautiously.
I wonder if there's like stuff to find.
Got it.
Research, dagger plans. These partial plans describe the process for crafting a powerful weapon, but more research is needed to fill in the gaps. This research can be made with the Spire library upgrade and the proper materials. So we can upgrade stuff, basically, is what you're telling me. Yep. We can. These small barracks are nowhere near large enough to keep the Vengeance Guard comfortable and well rested. Sleeping occurs in short shifts, with soldiers resting in and out of beds. Okay. Bloodstained litter the training grounds. Vengeance Guard trainees spar in this area, perfecting their martial craft. This is the point where I want to have haste, so that it can be hasted. If anybody tells me what haste is, if that's a spell that you can do. Locked Iron Gauntlet. This book is very hard to read, but there are legible plans in it for locked iron gauntlets. This item can be created with access to Spire Forge, upgrade, and proper materials. Forge plan available. Locked iron gauntlets, blah blah blah, forge. Okay, looks like you can upgrade stuff.
Let's try not to stand out, shall we?
Okay. Carry it. Whatever the hell that means. Following Curse Conquest, food has become far less plentiful in the tiers. Vengeance Guard must make do with what little they have. Go over here. Water.
No can do.
And camping supplies which you don't need. And some potions. Step outside. Just exploring now. There's nobody here. I don't automatically have people who are my bitches. My bitches.
Won't happen.
Sorry, stupid. A bronze war mace. Cool. What is this? It's the main gates.
No can do. No can do.
You can do what you can do, can do. Click. Stuff.
Good thing I keep a torsion wrench handy.
The central spire stretches into the clouds, towering at the height that is difficult to comprehend from here. It
Won't happen.
appears completely unassailable. Damage dates back to Karos' initial conquest of the tiers. It is none of the few blemishes remaining in Testament of the Vengeance Guard's reconstruction effort. Dual wield +0.
Spotted something.
Okay. Yeah, it's not so there are always
On the
secret
lookout.
stuff, so I should always be doing this, even if the place is not hostile or whatever.
Won't
it is,
happen.
I guess. I mean, I guess.
No can do.
God, I wish I had haste. Yeah, what I was trying to say before, if anyone knows if there's a haste spell that makes everybody move faster and I am capable of doing it, or there's any way of getting
No
it
can
more
do.
done, more available to me, please let me know in the comments or in any other way, because damn, I want to know. That will make my life significantly more amusing. God, they're so slow. Oh my god, they're so slow. Okay. Got
Won't
one.
happen.
Two. Walking. Fatiguing toxin. And we're gonna
No
finish
can
this out
do.
here. Good. Oh, there's another thing over here though. Here. Apparently. Two. Heavy bronze thingy. Cool. I'm still unaware of how I can exit this area and like where can I go and stuff. So let's find out. Ready roll, Citadel. Click. Oh, this is where I am right now, and I can't go anywhere else, but I can do this, and then I can go other places. Oh. Location reachable is currently inaccessible. Burning library entrance, iron hearth, sentinel stand. There's no, you can't zoom back. Hello. So I can go to the Bastard City, or I could go to Blade Grave. Can't go to these places. You can Haven. So we are in the Mountain Spire, and we can go to the Bastard City or to the Sunset Spire. Cool. So where do we go now? Tunon is the voice of Karis in the Tears, and he'll want to know the specific of what transpired. Tunon awaits you in the Bastard City, or the voice of the steering visions. Sorry. Ranger Zillis has given you the power to interact with the Spire. Before you ascended the Spire, you had a vision when the edict broke. Understanding this vision might help you grasp blah blah blah. Find a way to Lethenian Crossing Spire. You have gained access to Haven. The region's Spire is attached to the old walls at the Lethenian's Crossing settlement. Travel there and find a way to gain access to the Spire. You had a vision of the Spire, blah, 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 blah. So those are the main things that I could do. Either go there or go there. We are 45 minutes in, so we can make a decision and go in one of those directions. So it's in Haven, and like, is this entire area called Haven? So is the Sunset Spire where I want to go, or is the Bastard City where we want to go? I have no idea. Like, the Bastard City will be meeting Tunon, which we are supposed to do. Let's do Tunon first. Let's do Bastard City first. Maybe we'll get a lot. I mean, it sounds to me like the Bastard City has more quests in it, so then I'll have more choices. Click. Oh, and we can go immediately into Tunon's court. All right, so that's how it works. So if I click here, I just go immediately to Lethenian's Crossing. And this is just immediately into Tunon's court, which takes me 2 days. Interesting. So it's like main quest or main quest, basically, when we click in there and we go in there. I'm kind of like, this takes less time to get there. Not that time has any meaning anymore, but I'm still, Tunon will probably give me more quests and stuff. But maybe it's better to do this before. I don't know which one to click. I want to click both of them. There's the good reasoning for both of them. Maybe he'll be mad that I'm wasting time and not immediately talking to him. And he really likes me, right? How much does he like me? I'm horrible. I know I'm horrible. I apologize. Tunon. Oh, he doesn't really give a shit about me. The orderly fairways. Let's do one of the. I honestly don't know. I'm so terrible. I need something random to make a decision for me because I suck so much. This is shorter. Lethenian Crossing. Shadows of the Old Walls Junction. Yeah, let's just go here. Screw it. I did a thing. Mistakes were made. Ambush! Members of the Bronze Brotherhood are blocking the road. Okay, let's murder them. With swords and spells. Mostly spells, though. Please be good position. Oh, it's like this.
No reason to tarry.
Yeah, they ambush you. Apparently, so, like, take your time. Okay, Spectral Blur. Spectral Blur. Did I gave her spells, right? Please tell me I did. Surge of Glory. She could do Surge of Glory. And do you have anything else? False Pit, no, not really.
I will aid you.
Cool. A toll? Oh, Highwayman. Gotta love Highwayman. A small figure stands before some armor-clad soldiers. His arms move wildly as he gestures in frustration, yelling at the man directly in front of him. Absolutely not. I've come through Iron Hall Trail more times than I can remember. No one had ever asked for a toll before, and I won't be paying one now. Don't you just love the Highwayman? It's kind of like a staple of fantasy, apparently. He notices you standing nearby and speaks. Fatebinder, surely you, of all people, can help me. My name is Esther, and I must get to Lethenian's Crossing. I have goods to deliver. Tell this man I will not be paying a toll, to him or anyone, and he is to let me through. He folds his arms over his chest and nods with a pronounced finality. Greetings, Fatebinder, and he is from the Bronze Brotherhood, which I have no idea who they are, and this is from Lethenian's Crossing. Don't know who these people are. I'm sorry you have been drawn into this. What's your stumbled here is merely a conflict of the changing times. I am Will of the... Will, of the Bronze Brotherhood. Mercenary company of the free cities dotting the tier's southern coast. Many of these mercenary companies were employed by Kyrus' agents and slaughtered during the war. The Bronze Brotherhood survived thanks to their relatively safe posting at Lithanian's Crossing, where the forces of Narad hired the company to help protect the town's forge operation. Among the most trained and dedicated warriors of the tiers, the Bronze Brotherhood have a reputation for ruthlessness and tenacity. Aggression and decisive thinking are so highly praised in the Brotherhood that the violent enigmatic Scourge is the group's mascot, a creature most decent folk consider the stuff of nightmares. The term brother is used for mercenaries of both genders, as the company's title harkens back to the archaic notion of living as men. In Tyr's custom, this amounts to releasing all claims to land. To better assure the employer that the Brotherhood won't covet the realms they're paid to protect. Interesting. I am Will. Iron Hall Trail is under our protection, and anyone passing through must obey our rules. If this gentleman would like passage through our lands, a simple donation is required. He holds out his hand. These funds help our cause and keep Ironhall a safe place for all travelers. Clearly, you both can see the value in that. Astor speaks, his arms swinging about again, emphasizing his words. And who exactly is keeping it safe? You, standing there with your weapons at the ready against me? His arms drops and he turns to you again. I'm not but a traveling merchant. I have no money to spare, and I certainly pose no threat to anyone. Keep this area safe, indeed, he points at Will. You are the only threat here. Fatebinder, please, talk some sense into this man. So, pay 50 ring toll to Esther. 50 ring toll is a lot. Not really, actually, it's the least one, so it's not bronze, so I do have a bunch of it. Here is payment for the merchant to pass unharmed. Address Will, this man will not be paying a toll today. Call your guards off and allow us passage immediately. Or just Aster, just because you passed through before means nothing. Pay the toll now or head back. You try my patience. And he gives us wrath. Or this matter is a waste of my time. You are on your own, which is average wrath or minor favor. I think I'll go with favor. Well, the strongest thing is wrath. Our average favor is if I paid for him, actually. Minor favor. Average favor. I don't mind 50, paying 50. Thank you, Fatebinder. You have done a great deal of good today. Aster bows dramatically. He turns back to the soldier. And you, brute, move aside and let me pass. We will make an exaggerated flourish and moves out of Aster's way. But of course, he raises an enormous hammer and stops Aster, pressing against his chest. Though, merchant, be sure to have some rings for your trip back. I doubt your friend here will be around to pay you through these lands twice. He smiles, moves his hammer, and gestures to Aster to continue. 50 rings is just a little bit, right? When he turns to his position and looks you over, his former genial mood gone. So, a Fatebinder in our little corner of the world would have ever thought this would happen. He spits between his feet, then crushes it into dirt with his boot. Well, I appreciate your help dealing with that merchant. I'm afraid I can't let you pass until you have spoken with our leader, Retamon. Personally, I thought he was crazy saying you'd be visiting Lithania's Crossing. Look like I owe him a few rings. He shakes the pouch around his neck, making the rings inside jiggle melodically. Not that there's a shortage of those out here. What can this humble servant of the Brotherhood do for you, Fatebinder? And don't ask me to let you through, because that isn't happening. This ridiculous piece of mercenary offal requires a lesson in pain and obedience. Allow me to teach him. If you think you can get him to move, do it. Should I let Barak murder him? Should I just let Barak do it? Nah, I can handle myself. If you don't feel like paying the toll, I can point you back the way you came. If you need an idea of where to go, because I can't let you through. Punch Will. I'm over there. I'm like over here. Lie, I already spoke to Redamon and he said I could pass. So my station means nothing. I will pay the toll. Who is Redamon? We breaks out a short laugh. Now that's a question with 100 answers. Simple one, he's the current leader of the Bronze Brotherhood. If you want to know anything more, I suggest you go find him and talk to him. Current leader? Well, it's not the leader of the Brotherhood, it's a lifelong calling. Will stops his brow wrinkling. Actually, they're exactly what it is. See, if someone wants to claim the current leader's authority for their own, they can do it at any time. Of course, that means a challenge of some sort, and that always ends with the death of one or more of the participants. Redamon survived the night in the Old Walls. That was enough to prove to most of the Brotherhood that he was the right man for the job. Where can I find him? He points south. He's right there, inspecting the corpses of some Kyrus' soldiers. He's bound to be in a good mood right now. He winks at you. All those dead bodies must be heaven for him. The color drains from his face as soon as the words leave his lips. Please don't tell him I said that. So my station means nothing. Out in the middle of nowhere? No, your station means about as much as a whore to a eunuch. He holds out his hand, palm up, and taps his finger in the middle of it. Money is what matters to us. Punch Will. Will's head is thrown to the side as your fist connects with his cheek. gain minor wrath. I'm okay with that. He looks to you, his eyes swimmingly momentarily before refocusing. Whoa, what was that for? I don't like insubordination. Next time I tell you to act, do so immediately. Will rubs his cheek. Hold on, I'm just doing my job. I apologize if I offended. Redamon will have my head if I let you through. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. Now it waits for me to get all the way closer. God damn it. Radamon, while you are talking to Will, a striking man with a shock of bright blonde hair approaches, moving away for some men searching bodies of slain soldiers to the south. He watches you intently as he closes, his angular features pulling into a look of disdain. And here's the Fatebinder. He doesn't mask the displeasure in his voice. I knew we'd see you. I was just wondering when. One trip to Lithania's Crossing wasn't enough, Governor. Oh, this is a conquest decision. The Bronze Brotherhood were the original protectors, but they passed control to Kairos' forces and stayed as retainers. Over time, they proved too disorganized to keep the peace. They held the settlement over the disfavored. Trusting in the discipline to maintain order, the Brotherhood's mercenaries consider this a slight on their lawful claim. Right now, they're kind of pissed at me. Wrath 1. Cool. Enough, Governor? He doesn't even mask contempt in his voice. You had to return where no one asked you to come. Throwing me out of my home wasn't sufficient. Are you here to disrupt my life some more? Damn, he is Game Manager Wrath. Okay, he's really pissed at me. He looks at his men, who stop to watch the conversation. You aren't done! He flicks his hand at them as they're returning to the searching. It doesn't really matter why you're here. I don't care. I have more important things to worry about. In case you've forgotten me already, my name is Redamon. I am First Brother, leader of the Bronze Brotherhood. But I'm sure you already know that. I couldn't help but see you over here talking to Will and that traveling merchant. Only here for a moment and already sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, aren't you? I don't appreciate others invading my territory, Fatebinder. I told her she had to speak to you, Redamon. She wanted... Redamon? Is that the correct way to say this? She wanted through, but I told her no. If you don't give me the signal, the Fatebinder isn't getting into Lithania's Crossing. No one will invade your territory. Redamon stares at Will for a few seconds, lips pursed, then continues as if Will never spoke. Unnecessary. Look, I'm licking your ass. Okay. Second up. Watch yourself while you are a guest in my land. If you have come to stir up more trouble, we are well equipped and will not back down in defense of what is rightfully ours. He sweeps his arm in front of him, gesturing to the surrounding countryside. Welby and I might not always agree, but that is one point we see eye to eye. If you step out of line, we will both correct you. His eyes narrow and he leans towards you. You are not welcome here. Now tell me what you want or leave. I really feel like killing them. You would do well to watch your tone when speaking to a Fatebinder. Laughs hollowly. I care not about Kairos' forces. I've already reaped the rewards of my loyalty, and I will not make that mistake again. You have taken my home, but I will have it back. I won't cower when you raise your voice against me, lapdog. I'm not welcome in your land. This is not your land anymore. Such arrogance is the minor wrath again, is the precursor to a mighty fall, Fatebinder. I might not currently have control of Lithania's Crossing, but we both know positions are fleeting. Lithania's Crossing is my home, and you imagined control over our lives doesn't change the fact. Why are you charging travelers a toll to get through Ironhall Trail? I don't see how the affairs of the Brotherhoods are your business, Fatebinder. Suffice it to say, the funds we receive from our tolls help us keep the lands around Lithania's Crossing safe. We are owed our dues, and we shall have them. Tell me about the Bronze Brotherhood. We are a humble group with noble, long-held traditions on the side of the right and honor. Redamon voice fills with pride. If there is an injustice that needs to be rectified, we are called. Sounds like you're upstanding citizens. On our sour expression, if you want to be crass, then yes, people pay us for our services, but it's hardly the reason we do what we do. Ain't to get to Lithania's Crossing. Looks at you with incredulous expression. Absolutely not. I'm gonna kill all of them. You must be crazy if you think I'm letting a disfavored sympathizer through to consort with my enemies. Who knows what plans you would make to undermine my authority? He crosses his arm over his chest. You have some nerve, Fatebinder. First, you have me thrown from my home, and now you want back in so you can come up with even worse punishment. Let's talk about something else before I attack them. Tell me about Welby. He shoots a log to the north. I had such high hopes for her as my first axe. The continued success of the Brotherhood should be the single most important goal for anyone who is a member. She seems to have forgotten her place. She is not the head of this band. I am. If she doesn't stop overreaching, I'll have to replace her with someone who knows how to obey. Why is Lithania's so important to the Bronze Brotherhood? We were asked to do a job and we did it. Then what happens? You throw us out of our home. He makes an emphatic gesture to the north, towards Lithania's Crossing. By our rights, That city of ours is ours, and suddenly Kairos wants it. Well, I intend to get it back. I refuse to let this matter die. We protected the crossing for years, and even ensured Kairos' forces could do business where Narat asked us to. No, we did the job we were asked, and this land belongs to us. You said you don't do it for the money, but that's why you're fighting over Lithuanian's crossing. I don't appreciate your tone or the implications of what you're saying, Fatebinder. Eyes are hard and his voice flat. This is a mere matter of principle. We performed a service and we were paid for that service. Don't try to glibly explain away a complex situation. This is our home. This is my home. I will have it, no one else. Now, if all came here to do is insult me and mine, I would suggest you leave. We'll speak again soon. I certainly hope that isn't the case. Okay, so we can actually go up and kill him, which sounds fun. They're looking through people. There's 2 raiders over here. We can scroll back.
No can do.
So there's Raidamon and there's Will, and I cannot cross until I kill them, which I definitely intend to do. But he did say that we could go upwards and talk to some stuff. And we could also better prepare than just standing there, which is not good. Will we have to fight?
Won't happen.
Moving cautiously.
Can we go steal this? Cyclical energies. And some other stuff. Spell scrolls! Yeah, I know. I know how they work. I've understood how they work at this point. Oh, wait, I need to go to not Spire, to here. Learn. Cyclical energies. Ooh. Recovery sigil. Cooldown. Oh, the cooldown is better. Ooh. Please do. Yeah, update that. That sounds awesome. What's the cyclical energies? Oh wait, is that an expression? No. Wait. What? The different names of like chords, accents, and expressions is still. What are we doing for me? This is 95, but we're not going to touch it because I think it was changed, and yes, something. Update 75. We can also update with this update because it's only 8. We can also update. Basically, I'm just lowering the cooldown on pretty much everything. This one can do fire and ice, right? Yeah, but then it jumps to like 100. We can't do it at the moment. What about this girl? She's only got 56. I can't modify Fountain Bolt until I learn that, which means until she likes me. Until she likes me enough. Spectral Blur, this is 20. Reaching Grasp doesn't matter because he only casts on itself. I guess the cooldown we can improve. Whatever. And Titan's Touch, you could also improve the cooldown on this. Intensity would be 20, and then it wouldn't give us the precise action, which we very much enjoy. Here, however, Restoring Touch is 50. Again, we don't want to touch that because it's, for some reason, still fine, because it's still there. I think there was a patch, and what happened is that the basic, all of these are 0, and they are still 0, but this one became 20 in a patch or something. I think that's what happened. I mean, I can only assume. A tall woman stands here, surveying the area from small overlook. She glances at you and immediately goes back to watching her surrounding. Welcome to Iron Hall Trail, Fatebinder of Tunon. With all that running around, I wasn't sure you were ever going to make it over here. I haven't yet made up my mind if I should be offended you didn't speak to me first, or happy I get the final word. I hope Will didn't vex you too much. He's a good enough sort. He just enjoys his job a little more than he should. The hint of a smile plays across her lips. He thinks he's being sly, taking a cut of every toll, but he's told particularly everyone what he's doing by now. Did Renamon have anything of note to tell you, or is he still wasting his time scouring dead bodies for information he'll never find? She looks south and sighs softly. I'll admit he has led this group to some minor glories, but I fear how we'll end up if something doesn't change. She salutes you. My name is Welby, first axe for the Bronze Brotherhood, though I'm not sure that title matters anymore. She pauses to gather her thoughts. Oh my god, we're gonna have inner war and everything. That's so obvious. Jesus Christ. Then opens her mouth to continue. Instead, she exhales slowly and shakes her hand. Never mind, you needed to be burdened with my problems. What can I help you with? Tell me about the Bronze Brotherhood. Welby laughs a little. We're mercenaries, plain and simple. I'm not going to pretend like it's anything more. While it's true we have, in recent years, been a little more stationary than your typical crew, it doesn't change the fact that our services can be purchased if the price is right. We both know full well that the rings that the Voices gave us were the only things that bought our allegiances to Kairos when the Overlord turned an eye to the crossing. Even if our thanks for helping was to be thrown from our homes, she contemplates you for a moment. Not that I hold any ill will towards you for it. Decisions have to be made, and there's always someone who must pay the price. I just hope you realize some people don't like being asked to pay. Everyone will try to sell you on our long and noble traditions, like we're some kind of altruistic saints who can do no wrong, but that story is as old and smelly as Grandma's Beastman's tall tail hairs. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take a job that doesn't seem right to me, but a ring and I will go where the money leads me. One point Redamon and I will agree on is this. We did a job for Kairos, but we were not treated fairly. The Brotherhood is strong, and we have the numbers. We will fight to the last man. I just don't agree with Redamon's methods. What does it mean to be First Axe? She sighs. I wish I knew, Fatebinder. The First Axe protects and consults with the First Brother. I'm supposed to be Redamon's advisor, confidant, and guard. Lately, his behavior has become erratic. He's acting paranoid, manic, and distressful. My duty as First Axe is to protect the First Brother, but I'm also sworn to protect the Brotherhood, and if that means the removal of Redamon, so be it. He has too many supporters in Lithinian's Crossing right now to speak out against him. What do you think has happened? Honestly, I couldn't speak to the cause. The stress of leadership, the battle with Kairos' forces, his night in the Old Walls. She shrugs. When you decide to remove the Brotherhood from the crossing, it's certainly set him off. Does it matter? His behavior is endangering the Brotherhood, and he must be stopped before we are destroyed. I fear people will be hurt by far more than a simple toll. How would you run the Brotherhood? I wouldn't waste time or resources on petty vendettas, that much I can tell you. I like battle and I like rings, and with the Brotherhood, we used to get both regularly. Now all we have is fear, suspicion, and blood. I want the disciplined regime back, and I intend to have it. While I may agree that we are treated unjustly, Redamon methods for obtaining restitution are despicable. So, true. Acting like a child when you don't get what you want is not the behavior of the leader. Gain minor favor. Sure, let's do with some favor. Yeah, we're almost at tier 3 though, but let's go with some favor. And now we're 25, which is very little, but okay. Except in this case, the child is in control of an army capable of laying waste to his home. Let me ask something else. Why are you forcing your travelers to pay a toll? Redamon will say it's because it's what we're due, and part of me is inclined to agree with him. But if I were pressed, I would say his pride is hurt and he's lashing out. He can be such a child sometimes. Just watch yourself around him. He hasn't seemed completely in control of his faculties lately. It's frightening to see what he's becoming. Did you not swear an oath to your leader, Sellsword? I knew that your loyalty was available to the highest bidder, but I never guessed that it extended into treachery. Redamon's plans can doom our entire troop, and I intend to prevent that from happening. I am loyal, not blindly devout to someone intent on marching me off a cliff's edge. That's all for now. By your leave, Fatebinder, and be careful.
Let's be off.
Okay, so, by the way, yeah, 50 rings is just 50 copper rings, right? So, yeah, I don't mind spending that for the dude, and getting some stuff. So, just a quick save, we should actually be closing. Still around! What is so important about these bodies? There are some of Kairos' army who wandered too far into Lithinian's Crossing. He spits on the closest body and makes an obscene gesture at it. I will sleep well when they are dead in the ground, the only place they're worthy to be. But if you choose, how do you plan on but if you choose to break themselves up like this, it will only make it easier for us when the Brotherhood make the claim that is rightfully ours. How do you plan on claiming it? Pulls his head back and looks at you. Why would you ask this? His voice drops to a whisper. Is Welby planning to undermine my strategy? We will speak again soon, or I can just attack them. And up to Will, we should be ending in a second. I just want to see what my options are with Will other than just attacking, because it seems that's the main thing that I could do. What can this humble server, blah, blah, blah. Or I can speak with him, or I can pay the toll. No offense intended. Those are the rules, Autumn.
Let's be off.
So I can pay 50, or I could go fight them, it seems. Interesting. We will make a save, and we will attempt to fight them, because why not? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't decided. But anyways, we're done for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, we just had another episode filled with talking and talking and talking, but I'm really enjoying myself. This is like reading a good book for me, and it's a very interesting book. Actually, usually in my book reading, I read one fantasy novel, some kind of interesting dramatic thing, and then I read a technical book about anything that's technical, about design usually, or whatever it is. I'm right now reading a book about a technical book, and having, in a way, a sort of like side book, which is the fantasy, all the fantasy that I love and all the lore and all of that. It's kind of nice to have both of them at the same time. And I'm really enjoying myself. Hopefully you are as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.